Well, great day to be a Bulldog. It's fun to be playing on March the 28th. Awfully proud of my team and excited for them. This is a culmination of a lot of hard work, commitment, and dedication on their part, on my staff's part, and but the work's not done. And I want them to be focused on the next game, the next opponent, when the bus is leaving, what practice is going to be like today, and for the next 3 days to do what they've done all year, and that's prepare like a pro. They've been great. They've always had great focus for the most part. We haven't been a great practicing team early part of the year and mid part, but here lately they've really been much better, and I think that's evident in how we're playing right now. But just want them to win the minute, win the hour, and win the day for the next however many days we're going. And that's been good enough for us right up to this point, 33-4, giving God the glory for what's really been a lot of fun and a great team and a great season. So excited about our next opportunity. Obviously, it's a tremendous challenge, but you know what? If there's a team that's excited about it, this team is excited about it. I think they feel like they've got a little bit of something to prove, and we're disappointed in how we played the last time. And so maybe not so much something to prove, but just we know we're better than the last time when we played Yukon. So I know they'll do their very best in getting prepared for this opportunity.
For the players, did you guys watch the game between Connecticut and Oregon last night?
Yeah. Yeah.
What did you think? Do you think it looked anything like Mississippi State, Yukon last year?
I think it resembled it a little bit. I think, Oregon, they're led by three really good freshmen, and I think it was their first time playing against Connecticut, and Connecticut can have that effect on you. They play really fast, and they can make you turn the ball over. So I think that kind of attributed to their success last night.
Dominique, how did you handle that Yukon loss last year? I mean, did you try to just forget about it right away, or was it something that motivated you going forward, or just how does that work? Because I know it had to be just kind of an embarrassing thing for y'all.
It was really disappointing and embarrassing. I don't think anybody wants to go through what we went through last year, and definitely use it as motivation in the off season. We don't want to dwell on it. It happened, and we want to move on from it, and we definitely learned from it, and we don't want the same thing to happen again.
You talked about that's what Yukon can do to you, and sometimes like that. And I know they've got different players and stuff like that, but is it almost is it a mental thing playing Yukon? What does Yukon do to you? You understand what I'm saying?
Sometimes the name itself can just scare you, I guess, like if you haven't played them ever. So I think that is the first thing that gets teams sometimes, but their defense is really good. I don't think they get enough credit for it. Last night they turned over Oregon 17 times before the half was over. So I think their defense doesn't get enough credit, and I think their transition offense is really great. So I think they speed the game up, and they're really great overall.
Bree, how are you guys a different team, you think, than the team that lost to them last year?
Well, just like everybody gets a year under their belt, and so I think we've grown, we've matured, and we know how to handle different situations. I feel like we handle situations differently this year than we might have last year, and I think with us getting another chance at Yukon, we kind of know what to expect, but we kind of know that going in, we should have the right mindset. I think we have a different mindset this year than what we had last year.
Bree, last year when the game was over, did you flush it, or was it one of those things when you have an off-season workout and maybe somebody's lagging a bit, you bring that up again as a motivational tool just to kind of keep everybody focused about what could happen?
We couldn't forget about it, and even if you did kind of forget, that was your motivation. But often, if you did forget, Coach would always bring it up. So it's not something that you can just, like you basically say, flush it. You can't flush that away. We kind of made history, so that's something that you just wear, and you kind of got a chip on your shoulder because you've got to redeem yourself.
Dominique, what's the last few days been like since y'all got back from Oklahoma City? Just all the pats on the back, congratulations, and how do you kind of compartmentalize that and keep focused on the goal at
It's been really exciting. The community is really great. We got back at around 2:30 a.m. to Zach Village, and we had over 200 people welcoming us back, and it was just amazing to see the support in the community, and just to see how much people really are supporting women's basketball here at Mississippi State, and the students have been really great also. And just it's Tuesday now, so you kind of gotta put away all that excitement, and you gotta get back to the game plan, and you gotta get ready for Yukon.
Dominique, has it been fun, like, this run, you know, Blair Schaefer had a couple awesome games, and then, you know, Morgan was so good last game, that it just seems like kind of the culmination. Do you think it's different this year, that maybe you just have more options to maybe attack a Yukon or something like that, at least some different ways to go after them?
I definitely think we're a lot deeper team than we were last year. We're another year experienced. Blair, kids on the bench, they're another year experienced. We have more options to go to. You just can't key on one player, so we have a lot more options.
Some of you guys had an opportunity, and maybe to your specifically you haven't, but to think about the impact this is having on maybe girls basketball in the state of Mississippi, that people look at you guys as role models. Probably there were girls out Sunday night working on a step back jumper of Morgan's to try to perfect. Have you thought about that?
We don't talk about it, but I mean, it's just crazy to know that we are impacting people like that, and it's amazing to know how much of an impact we've created, and it's just kind of breathtaking sometimes to know how much of an impact we have made on the state.
For both of y'all, you say you watched the game last night. What differences do you see in this Yukon team and the one last year?
None really. I think everybody kind of thinks like they might have a small drop off or whatever just because they lost the coach always says top 3 draft picks, but UConn's gonna be dominant every year, so I don't know. I don't think it's really much of a difference, and I think after last game they stepped their defense back up to the part they think they want to, so it's no difference really.
Yeah, I agree with her. Coach Oriema, I don't think to play for him there can't be a drop off. He wants everybody to play hard. If you're not gonna play hard, you're not gonna get on the floor for him. So I think there's no excuses, and you know, you have to play hard. And if you're not gonna play defense, you're not gonna play for him.
Let me ask you this. He just asked about differences in the Utah team from last year and this year. Do you see any similarities in this team, the Mississippi State team, and Connecticut? Are there any certain things that you see about them? Because they really emphasize defense like y'all do, but are there similarities?
I think so.
Yeah.
Their intensity, I feel like we have like almost the same intensity, like we match that, and I don't know. I don't know, Dom, you got this one.
Yeah, I think there are similarities. I think Coach Schaefer tries to hold us accountable just like Coach Oriema tries to hold his players accountable. Last night, he's getting after one of his best players, Collier, because she has 28 points, but he's saying she's not guarding anybody out there. And, you know, Victoria, she does things for us all the time. And, you know, against Washington, he's getting after her for talking about she's not playing defense. And, you know, she's guarding one of the best player in college basketball, Kelsey Plum. And she guarded her pretty well. And, you know, he wants the best out of us. And he's not gonna let us have any step back, or he's not gonna let us relax. So I think he's really similar in Coach Oriema.
You think their team chemistry is, because one of your strengths on this team is the chemistry. Do they have the similar chemistry that y'all have?
Definitely, I think our
can
chemistry.
You see that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think right now we're really gelling, and I think they're always gelling. So I think our chemistry is as good as anybody's right now.
Let's continue the Connecticut team since everybody's on that train here. I know Coach loves it. As seniors, I don't know if this might sound like a corny question. I don't mean it to be, but for the legacy to keep this journey going, to get to this point and have a chance to play them again, is that the perfect way to script this? To have to beat the national champion to get a chance to get to the next step?
Nah, I think if it was perfect, we'd be playing them in the national championship game. But like you said, we can't really like pick our course. But I feel like to play them now, that is a perfect opportunity for us, and I feel like it's our chance to make up for it. So we just gotta take advantage of the situation.
I'd like to ask both of you, you guys didn't start going to the Final Four when you got here. You just scratching to win any game. And every game was on the line and there was outcomes and down. So talk to me a little bit about that progression and could you see where you are today from that 13 and 17?
Well, they weren't 13 and 17.
Yeah,
They were 22 and 14, but go ahead.
You basically asking, did we see ourselves getting this far? Nah. I think when we first got here, we knew we were gonna change the program, but to this extent, nah. I can say that we're blessed, and I feel like our hard work paid off. But I don't know. I still feel like this year is like a dream, to be honest.
Kind of following up on that, just talk about you might have already answered this, I don't know, I got here a little late. Talk about your feelings and emotions when you realized when the ball went up in the air and y'all were going to the Final Four. Can you put it into words?
For me, I don't know. I went straight to Morgan because she had an amazing game, so I had to let her know personally. Thank you. I told her thank you, and I loved her. And I don't know. It was crazy, but for us, I don't know. It was joyous. A very joyous moment for us. I feel like everybody had tears of joy, and we finally said we made it.
Dom, do you share Bree's thoughts about getting to this point, whether it's a little surprising, mostly surprising, not a surprise at all?
We talked about it. We wanted to compete for a national championship, but I think thinking it and getting there is two different things. And it is surprising. I think it would be surprising for any team, starting off new, but. All the hard work, all the dedication, all the sacrifices, they were there. So, it's surprising, but I think all the hard work was there, and we earned everything we got.
Dom, I got an interesting question for you, so I want to apologize in advance if it's a little odd. But, Gino said last night just the hallmark of your team this year has been like your toughness at Mississippi State. I think there's no better indicator than that, than the amount of charges that you guys draw. What goes through your mind when you're about to absorb that hit?
Definitely a question for her.
I can answer this.
You've taken one?
Yeah. Nothing. The biggest thing is I hope I get the charge, just hoping I get the charge from my team. Nothing really goes through my mind, just trying to get there as fast as I can, and trying to absorb the contact so I don't hurt myself on the way down.
I'm gonna go to Bree then.
Yeah, me. Since I'm not a charge-taking person, if I actually have the opportunity and I see myself there, I actually look and I'll be like, just take it. And so then when she finally hits me and I finally get the call, I'm really excited because I don't really do it. But in the moment, it's kind of funny because I really tell myself, just stay here, don't move, and just take it. And when I take it, I look Coach Schaefer like, yeah, I got it. So I don't know. I feel like that's my mindset. I don't know about Dom. She's used to it.
Yeah, I'm used to it.
Dom, how far is this from your home?
It's about 4 hours away. 4 hours, yeah, 3.5, 4. My mom can probably make it in 2.
She will.
Off the record.
Any other questions from players? All right, thanks, Bree. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks.
You stay good. That was a gentleman who stood up. Oh, lady.
Coach, I'm kind of interested in the psychology. I know coaches put a lot of thought into the ideas they put in players' heads. And it seems to me it's kind of a tricky thing, or it would seem to me a tricky thing, when you're discussing about the Connecticut game last year. How much you talk about it, what things you say, what impressions you want to leave. Did you burn the tape? Kind of how do you use that, and how do you figure out how to use that?
Well, again, it's been hard. It was hard for me to deal with. I felt extremely disappointed walking out of there. Embarrassing doesn't even cover it. And again, it all falls on my shoulders. I'm responsible for that, and I was really, I was disappointed in myself. And look, last year's team, we played the best team in the history of the women's game. We probably couldn't have beat that team if we'd have played them 100 times. I just couldn't get past. I just didn't think they were 60 points better than us. But it is what it is, and it happened. And so, for me, it's been something that's always been there in the back of my mind. I coach out of fear of failure anyway. You add that to the equation, you're going to really work hard. And so it's not something that I've been able to forget or get over. And again, it wasn't anybody's fault but my own, and our kids, it was bad enough having to play them, but having to play them in their backyard, is an additional issue. And, we got some pretty good looks early and just couldn't make shots, and they made everything they looked at, and it just gets away from you in 5 minutes, really. So, I think, again, for our kids now, we've been through a lot since then. We've obviously played a murderer's row schedule. We've played some teams that have played them. And so, there's things you can draw from. Am I going to show them last year's film today? I'm going to show them parts of last year's film today. What parts, I won't disclose to you guys, but they're going to see bits and pieces of that film today. And we'll use that. We'll use that in a good way. So, because I think there's some benefit to that. And it'll get their attention. Hey, the film doesn't lie. We always say that. And it'll get them, I think there's been a lot of talk, questions about the pats on the back and things like that the last couple of days, and rightfully so and well-deserved. But at some point, you better get grounded in a hurry. You better get back to reality in a hurry, because reality's coming Friday night at 9, and if you're not ready, it can be not very much fun. And so for us, I think we're a different team. We're obviously much different in the NCAA tournament than we have been really all year. And our offensive chemistry has been really good. And the bottom line is you better figure out a way to score some points when you play them, because they score a lot of points.
What'd you tell your team in the locker room after that game last year?
To be honest with you, I probably don't remember too much. I can't recall. Probably went from the game to just wanting them to reflect on a good season, in the Sweet 16. There wasn't, I certainly probably talked about the feeling they felt and not wanting them to forget that and use it for motivation. But at the same time, we were a really young team last year. These 4 seniors that we have were 4 juniors. The 4 juniors we have were 4 sophomores. So we were really young. So we probably talked in those terms probably more than anything.
Do you think, you were talking about this offensive chemistry with team that, Morgan played so well, and McCowan's had games, and Blair, and, 10 or 11 deep right now. All things considered, do you feel about as well prepared, to go into a game like this, that you feel good about yourself, at least right now that you're playing?
I feel great about myself. I feel great about my team. I just, we got hot. I told y'all that 2 weeks ago. This time of year is about getting hot. The kids that were hot in practice have been playing a lot. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. If kids are producing in practice, they probably can function in a ball game. And so that's what we did. Those 3 kids I started on Sunday, they were chomping at the bit. They were ready to go. I could tell. Those 3 games off from starting, they were ready to get back in the lineup. And so the old saying, who let the dogs out? Those dogs were ready to come out. And so I was more than happy to let them out. But, I think right now we're hot. We're as hot as any team in the country. Hey, on Saturday night, Rebecca Lobo's talking about the Baylor matchup before our game. I'm sitting there watching film in my hotel room, watching on the big screen. I got whoever was playing that, but she's wanting to move on past and already talk about the great matchup with Baylor and how great of a matchup that's going to be for Yukon. Well, Okay, if we're able to beat Baylor on any given night, then if we can bottle that up and do it again, man, I'm not trading my team for anybody.
Does that type of like recollecting like the faith that people don't have in you guys, how does that motivate you guys? Because I know it has a lot of fire inside you guys.
You know, sometimes you got to get past people's opinion. Sometimes people in this profession, they offer their opinion more than their expertise. And you know, and that's fine. You deal with that in life every day. We all do. So I'm, you know, I know what I got in my locker room. And that's, you know, people that pay attention to us throughout the course of the year, I think they know it too. I know what's inside our breastplate. I'm not trading my kids for anybody's. And I think that's what you saw Sunday night against Baylor. You saw the heart of a champion out there playing and laying it all on the line in a really big moment. And the kids, you know, our kids with a big old heart, they found a way to get it done. Sometimes that's what separates the good teams from the great teams. And so I'm really, you know, I'm awfully proud of my kids. And again, I'm not trading them for anybody, and I think we're hot right now.
Rivalry is one of those. What are you getting from her in the postseason? What she
Well, she's been really solid. I mean, she's just been solid all year. But you know, when I can get her to limit her turnovers and to attack the rim, she's really good. And right now, she's making shots. I mean, she's really good. She's been good at the three-point line. She's been good at 15 feet, and you can't leave her open. And that's really the difference to me in her game now compared to probably her first 3 years, is she's really been consistent with the 15-footer as well as racking it when she goes. We call it racking it when you drive it and finish. And when I can get her to not double pump and change the ball about 3 different directions when she's going in, just go in there and rack a big layup. She had 2 big racks against Baylor. Going in there against 6'7". When you can get her to do that, she's really difficult to handle because you got to guard her. She'll make a 3, and if you come get her, she's explosive enough to get by you. So she's really, you know, her and Katera, what they provide us at the 4, you know, it's going to, you know, it'll be something that we'll have to replace with Amisha and some others that we've recruited, because those 2 seniors have really been special for us.
Coach, it seems like to me, just watching a little bit of Connecticut, even their 5s can push the ball. They look like they're a great transition team, and that can be a real strain on defense. So without getting into game planning much, is there anybody, have you played anybody that resembles that? Have you got a taste of that from anybody that you've seen this year?
Well, no, I mean, I don't think anybody, you can get any taste of anything, you know, that resembles them, especially at that position. I think that's the uniqueness of you know, of Connecticut, is that they have those kids that are so multidimensional. And you know, I think that's going to be a key matchup for us. We're going to have to figure out a way to deal with that. And I think that's the thing I've said this before, you know, used to in scouting, they let you scout somebody in person one time in the old days. Now you don't get to do any in-person scouting during the season. And what the in-person scouting provides you is you get to see up close in person how big somebody truly is, how fast they really are, and their quickness. Well, last year when you're in the Sweet 16 and you're going against that team, you get an up-close in-person slap in the face on how fast they are in transition. And so I think that's, you know, people have come after my 5s here lately, running them, you know, up and down the floor, and it's been hard. You know, we've struggled with that. That's no secret, and we've got to continue to get better and work on that. But the multi-dimension problem that we have with numerous players on their team is something that makes them so good, and so we've got to find a way to neutralize some of that. But you know what? Baylor had some All-Americans out there that could do a lot of things, and we had to deal with that. We had to deal with the best scorer in the history of the game on Friday night, and we dealt with that pretty well. Sometimes it's not about one person, it's about the chemistry of 5. And I think that's where we've been really good in dealing with some of these issues. And of course, you go through our league, you can go down the list of All-Americans that we've had to deal with. And so, but Connecticut certainly provides a unique matchup issue at couple different spots.
Coach, when you look at your team, you've got 555 assists. I forget the exact number that they said Yukon has last season, but it's significantly more than top 55. When you look at them compared to DePaul and Washington, is their willingness or ability to share the basketball that much greater than those two teams in the sense that they have versatile players that they can spread you out and attack either by shooting or taking it to the rim?
You know, I'd say the similarities between them and DePaul are probably greater than maybe a Washington. Washington keeps the ball in Plum's hands a lot. So there's, I think the thing that when you start talking about how many assists that Connecticut has, that's how good a ball handlers all of them are. And so that's what makes them, again, so unique and so difficult to defend is that they run a unique offense. And again, DePaul is similar in what they try to run, and so it puts the ball in everybody's hands on any possession, and anybody can make that pass to any particular cutter. And so you got to give those kids credit that they're able to touch the ball, and it doesn't just have to stay in a point guard's hands, that anyone can handle the ball, make a decision with the ball, whether it's to shoot, pass, or drive it and create something for someone else. And again, that's what makes them so great. They're just a really well-rounded, and obviously all those kids are highly skilled. But he puts them in those unique and multiple positions on the floor, and that's why it's just really difficult to kind of prepare for them, to be honest with you.
Going back to your start, you talked about this not being a great practice team so much. What has made them a better practice team in your mind these last few weeks? The challenge, the opportunity?
Yeah, I think just shaking things up, and they've always been competitive. This group's always been competitive, but I think here lately we've had some better prep. We've had some better focus. I think our kids have understood the importance of postseason and where we are, and I think it started back in the SEC tournament. We had some really good prep there. I told y'all we talked about 7 championships when we started this back in September. We talked to our team. We have 7 championships in front of us that we can win, and we've won 4 of them. We've lost 2 of them, and we've got 1 left in front of us. And so they've embraced that and certainly put their best foot forward in trying to win those.
Coach Mulkey gave you guys a lot of credit and said that your ball pressure on them was really influential in forcing as many turnovers as you guys did. With what you said about Connecticut and being able to handle it as well at all 5 positions, how important is that ball pressure in trying to duplicate that against Baylor?
Yeah, I'm not sure that something like that affects them as much because they're just different philosophical as far as how they're trying to attack you. And I'm not sure that that's as big a piece to your defensive success as maybe some other things. And I think unless you're in there and you understand exactly what they're doing and how they're trying to do it and who's trying to do it, it's easy for everybody to say, well, their pressure is going to really, they're going to have to really pressure them and bother them and that kind of. Well, that may be exactly what they want you to do, to be quite honest. So.
21 years ago now since the men made their run to the Final Four in 1996. There's some comparisons there. They went to the Sweet 16 and followed it up with a Final Four, and they just had to be playing with teams in the Northeast like you're doing this year. Can you speak to the tradition maybe that's come about in basketball, not only from them, but what you're doing with the women now? Have you talked to Richard? Has he shared anything with you this week or previous weeks?
No, I haven't talked to Richard in a while, and I don't remember too much about their run. Our history here obviously has been meteoric as far as going from where we were in 12-13 to where we are now. Obviously I've been a part of this 2 other times, and so I've seen it before. And again, it takes so many things, Danny, to get to this point. And But most of it has to do with having good players and getting hot, and in matchups a lot of times. Now I'll tell you, the matchups we had on Sunday, that was not in our favor, that matchup. But our kids were in our favor because again, they weren't going to be denied. You know, we battled our guts out that night, and you know, I'll say this: I bet the same however many hundreds of people that were there on Monday morning at 2 a.m. I bet they'd have been there if we'd have got beat too. I just think that's how special this place is. But you know, for us, I say it all the time, this is the new norm, you know, and it's what I expect. It's what I expected when Scott hired me. It's what I told him I would do. I knew what it looked like. I knew what the blueprint was. I had it in my back pocket. We didn't panic when we were 13 and 17. We knew what that looked like. We knew what a WNIT team looked like, and we knew how to develop that into an NCAA team. I think there's moving parts here that you have to keep in mind. Bree and Dom, you know, the question, did you see this coming or did you expect this coming here? Well, you got to remember who they came here and ended up playing with in the early days, that beginning team. The moving parts are, okay, Victoria, Morgan, Blair, who's the fourth junior I'm missing? Victoria, Morgan, Blair. Rowe was the addition, but so you add them to that group, and you know, I remember sitting in the car driving them around for freshman orientation, and Tori sitting in the back going, "Hey, coach, I don't know who, you know, I don't know who's here and who's. I came here to win, and I plan on starting, you know, something like that." That's the confidence that kid had. She didn't come here to sit on the bench or play behind anybody. And then we have that next class, and they come in with a bunch of credentials and really good players, and with Tierra and Jazz. And so what they add, that's another next moving piece to all this equation. And then, you know, Iggy and Amisha, and to be quite honest with you, on any other year, Iggy and Amisha would probably be playing more than they're playing now. They're that good. But we've got some seniors right now that are in front of them. So there's a lot of moving pieces to this whole equation. But that's what building a program is all about. And it's about constantly trying to, you know, building it and getting to a point that's a whole lot easier than keeping it there. Keeping it there is the challenge. And that's our challenge right now, is to try to keep it there.
You know, Coach, this team hasn't been to the Final Four, but you've been. And so I just wonder, is the stage that different, or is it just another place you got to win in terms of how the players respond? And probably some players respond very well and acclimated to it very well. Others maybe, ooh, this is okay, it's real now. So can you talk about, based on your experience of going, that dynamic?
Well, again, I think when you play in the Final Four, number one, you're going to walk out there and there's going to be probably 15,000, 20,000 people there. Now, we've played in front of that before. So our kids will be, I would be shocked if our kids are in awe. You know, I think it's important that you've played in that environment before, which we have, and we've had success in that environment. But it is a different deal in that from the time we take off tonight, their time is going to be regimented. There's so many things that pull on these kids during this time, and you know, one of the things that's going to be pulling on is me having them in study hall. We've missed a lot of school lately, but we're going to have to put that in there because we got to continue to try to make grades. This is going to be a really challenging semester for us, but there's really going to be a lot of time demands on these kids throughout the days leading up to the game, and then we're playing at 9 o'clock at night. I mean, you talk about a long day on Friday. So, but from the stage piece, we've been there, and I think we got kids that really, they love that moment. They love the lights, and really they've excelled in that environment. So, I'm really not too concerned about the lights. I'm more concerned about who we're playing in the lights.
Dick, when you made the line change do and why?
Yeah, there's no question it was the right thing to do. You know, I didn't know that it would turn out the way it did, but it was the right thing to do at that time. No question about it. Sometimes things are, you know, as a coach, sometimes things are bigger than the game. And, you know, it was just, there was no doubt in my mind it was the right thing to do. And obviously it's worked out, couldn't worked out any better. But you know what? If it hadn't worked out, you guys would be frying me in, you know, 350 grease. And I'd probably, you know, it'd be warranted, but it's worked out fine.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank y'all. Praise the Lord and go Dogs.